to start with the fact that, honestly, I feel like a lot of you guys that didn't grow up with peak Ubisoft probably are just rolling your eyes. I see a lot of people saying, like, disappointed but not surprised. I feel like a lot of people kind of forget, man, in that late Xbox era, that early Xbox 360 era, Ubisoft was legitimately one of the best game makers. Not just
Ubisoft was good even before that. What are you talking about, man? You're trying to tell me you do understand. You do understand that Prince of Persia was a 2D game before it even made it to 3D, right? You do understand that, right?
Prince of Persia, not just for like early Assassin's Creed, they were inventing open world tech that nobody else has.
What? Bro, this man has never heard of a game called Body Harvest. And the funny thing is, that wasn't the first open world game. What are you talking about, man? You hear this fool? You know, this man's going as far to say that, oh, you know, Ubisoft was one of the first to do open. No, they weren't. What are you talking about, bro? How do you not know your gaming history, bro?
They created systems of crowd density that were just literally so groundbreaking. And
so let's forget about Dead Rising with, let's forget about the original Dead Rising, I don't think there was no game that had crowd density as much as that. How about Heavenly Sword with one of the scenes that had thousands of soldiers on it? What are you talking about, bro? You don't know nothing about video gaming.
Since they made those early open world games, they got worse and worse and worse. I feel like they became almost a parody of themselves. So many Ubisoft games were just filled with hundreds of flags and climbing towers over and over again.
And you know what? And you know what game copied those mechanics? And I hate to say it, Breath of Wild and Tears of Kingdom. Okay? This whole collectathon. Oh, let me climb up these towers. Let me go to the... That's why a lot of these games are boring, because all they do is copy the same exact formula as all these other games that came before it. I would personally prefer a linear game that has great action set pieces and play the game from start to finish while also having some form of replay value. No different than the old school Hitman games that even though you're taking out the same targets, but there's multiple ways of doing so. See, the problem is with this whole open world structure of everybody doing what they want. I guess to some people they can create their own fun. It gives it that sandbox appeal, but they lack structure. It lacks any sort of desire to do anything important. You could pick up Korok Seeds and be fine with the game. Hey, I don't play Legend of Zelda to finish it and complete the game. I just play it to go pick up dandelions. That's how I play it, So you're not forced to do anything. You could just do what you want, essentially, which lacks direction and structure. That's why, in my personal opinion, a lot of these so-called open world games are boring. They make this beautiful, for some games, beautiful open world environments with nothing to do on them, with no activities, nothing. I'd rather take a smaller open world game that has more activities to do on the map than a game that's much bigger in size and you do absolutely nothing but drive around.
For a company that invented open world, man, did they just run into the ground.
Invented open world.
I'm reading this, right? Ubisoft has canceled 6 games, including the Prince of Persia remake. Ubisoft also announced it's delaying 7 other games to ensure enhanced quality benchmarks are fully met. You guys know on this channel, I've done that internally. It had a release date. At least that's what a lot of people have claimed.
All this for a remake.
Whatever.
Y'all can't even get a remake out, bro. Do you understand how embarrassing this is? That Ubisoft can't even pump out a remake to save their own company? Oh, but game, it is good. Oh, really? Yeah, I remember playing Prince of Persia Sands of Time 20 years ago. Oh yeah, so much for the power of the PS5 and the Series X playing games from 20 years ago as a remake. You got Ubisoft explaining to you how they can't even put out a remake. That is crazy.
Benchmark, they went, this thing is just not up to snuff.
How?
Now, keep in mind,
the game was already developed. The game was made. How hard is it to do a remake to a game that you've already previously made? Come on, man. The foundation is already there. I mean, at this point, they might as well just port the original game and let people play it like that if it's taking this long for this remake.
They already restarted development on this once. They fully made the game.
So now it's remade. No, it's a remake, remade, and restarted. Recycled, repeated, resold. I told y'all, we're in the generation of re's.
Wait, this sucks. fully remade it a second time, and then canceled it for a second time. I mean, holy heck. I want to look at the replies to this.
Nobody's buying
Better to
this.
release something good. A lot of stuff right now. There's a lot of companies right now that are simply trying to break even with tax write-off. So I'm going to explain something real quick. Why would you cancel a game that's done? Why would you cancel something that's 95% done rather than release it? So something happens with a lot of...
Now, I would agree with that, but the problem is it also stems from the fact that they got to put the game out and they want to try to salvage as much money that they're losing. I mean, it just shows you that a lot of companies, especially established studios as Ubisoft, are afraid to even push out their own games. Okay? They probably looked at Prince of Persia, Sands of Crown, or whatever. They seen the sales was very lackluster, even for a lower budget game. So they said, you know what? We might as well cancel this. Why even come out? This is why I'm telling you, man. The days of new IPs, you better go play indies. That's the only time you're going to see some new intellectual property. But when it comes down to all these AAA companies that pump out these games, they're going to stick to their favorites. Assassin's Creed, Resident Evil, Monster Hunters. What about rival schools, Capcom? What about we'll make a collection of those, but we won't make no sequel. What a Darkstalkers sequel? No, we'd rather just make more DLC for Street Fighter. Okay, what about a new drag? I mean, we did Spark and Zero and that game failed, but yet we'll put more DLC on Xenoverse 2 when y'all could have pushed out an Xenoverse 3. I mean, this is embarrassing, man. Companies realize that what is the point of even making new games anymore? You people ain't going to buy them.
These projects is that if you spend $50 million, $100 million making something, a lot of times you can write it off as a loss. You can basically say, okay, we're going to zero that out. And
why would they do that? Because you still got to waste time. People working under crunch time. They're wasting all that. At this point, they might as well just save their money. Why? This just goes to show you that video gaming is not profitable. Games to win another W, no matter what the franchise is. If you got to remember, Final Fantasy VII is the Mario of RPGs, and yet that game failed. There wasn't enough people buying that game. Okay, with Rebirth. That right there shows you. And you know what's crazy? The game sold better when it came out on PlayStation 1 than when it did with PlayStation 5 with a much higher install base. You're like, damn, Gamester, you're right. And gaming is more popular now, but it's all popular in other aspects. So think about that for a moment. Gaming, they weren't even that many PlayStation 1s at the time when that game sold well on PlayStation 1. But then you fast forward to where PlayStation 5 has 80 million PS5 consoles out there for Rebirth and nobody buys one. Like, that's crazy. Gaming is more popular now and yet for some reason people still buying less games.
$80 or $100 in taxes, right? This is a trick that Hollywood does a lot, where they almost finish a movie and then scrap it and go, okay, we spent $80 million on it, let's write off $80 million. I think a lot of times with these games now, internally, and even good companies like Square Enix has been doing this a lot lately, they go, okay, we've already spent $100 million making this game, but when it comes out, we're probably going to spend $50 to $100 million advertising it. We got to do like sponsored streams and crazy tie-in stuff and, Final Fantasy VII inside of Happy Meals and crap like that, right? So the thing is, they start to go, okay, it's more valuable to us to write it off than to even attempt to sell it like what they did with Concord, where releasing that, honestly, the rumors is that Sony lost $400 million on Concord.
I heard they lost more, but still, they still lost a lot of money, and they're going to potentially lose that with Marathon. Even with the game being multi-plat, man. I'm very surprised you ain't talking about them Sony TVs is dead, considering that they got TCL manufacturing them now. But listen, guys, I told you, man, we in a different era of video gaming as well as entertainment, electronics. You people did not want to see it, okay? Ubisoft, they're going to stick to Rainbow Six, maybe a few Prince of Persia. Well, I'll say Assassin's Creed, because that's really the successor to Prince of Persia. And that's really it. They're just going to stick to what's work. Activision, Call of Duties, you name it. That's all it is. EA with the Battlefield. No more Medal of Honor. I remember when Medal of Honor was just as big as Battlefield. Now Medal of Honor doesn't exist because EA can't afford to have that game. And they tried so many times to reboot that series, and it just never did better than Battlefield. So the game got canceled. I mean, come on now, guys.
And a lot of these companies now go, it's better to scrap it than to even try to salvage it. They're calling this a major company reset, which has resulted in 6 canceled games, 7 delayed projects, 2 studio closures as it reorganizes into creative houses. And it makes it where nobody wants to spend, the $2 or $3 billion it would take to acquire Ubisoft because
I mean, I think they could do well within like a subscription service, but in regards to people wanting to go out there and buy these games, definitely not.
Now, their developers aren't putting out great stuff. Their developers are not making $3 billion.
I mean, they milked Siege for like 10 years, 11 years for Honor. Like, Ubisoft is, like, they haven't really done anything since then. Milking Assassin's Creed, milking Rainbow Six Siege for 10, 11 years of the same game. Freaking For Honor, like 8, 9 years of that game. I mean, at this point, Ubisoft is done.
The stuff, even though it is that valuable on paper,
I guess ponies don't buy games.
Just isn't worth it. Microsoft's not going to gobble that up. Apple isn't going to bottle that up. Sony has no interest in spending $3 billion to basically own a bunch of, practically dead IP. But I also think it comes down to the fact that how badly they've been running stuff for the last couple of years. Like, keep in mind, I almost feel like is the legacy of current-day Ubisoft. Bloat, over potential, cool trailers, and absolutely vapid, empty open worlds.
Well, they started out with the PS4 generation with the Rainbow Six Siege trailer, which was CGI. I mean, Ubisoft has been doing this for a long time, guys. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. I told you people just buy less games now. We can continue to say that gaming is bigger, which in some ways it is, but it's big in all the wrong reasons. It's big with casuals. Fortnite, you know the games. It's not big in the way that you remember in regards to the IPs and the franchises that you enjoy. Hopefully you guys take that into consideration. Final Fantasy so far better on the PlayStation 1 with less console sales than it did when PS5. Take that in consideration. Gaming is more popular now. People had less money to buy things. And on top of that, people was renting games back then, and they still bought more games back then. It's done. Gaming has been taken over casuals. They do not care about the old school fan, because if they did, this game would exist. I mean, you're trying to tell me Ubisoft can't come out with a remake of a game they've already made? Come on, man. And you have faith in the industry? Yeah, okay. Hopefully, you guys enjoy this video, man. Like I said, take care. Peace out.